Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's virtual stakeholder meeting for the US 30 corridor study in Wayne County between Kansas Road and West Lebanon Road. We'd like to thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Crystal Nealon, and I'm the District 3 Public Information Officer. We have a few housekeeping items we'd like to go over first, and then we'll get into the project details. Conducting public meetings virtually is still somewhat new to us. So I'd like to thank you in advance for your patience and understanding as we go through this presentation this afternoon. We'll try to make this as easy and seamless as possible, but there may be some bumps or slight hiccups as we go along. So we'd appreciate some feedback at the end of this meeting on how to make this experience better in the future. At this time, the audio for the entire audience has been muted to help make sure that everyone can hear us by eliminating background noise. Participants will be provided an opportunity to speak during the questions and comments session immediately following the presentation. The slide on your screen shows an image of what you should see on your computer desktop in the upper right corner. You're most likely listening to this using your computer speakers by system default. If you would prefer to join over the phone, just click on the little white arrow next to the word audio in the control panel, and when the pane expands, click on phone call and the dial-in information will be displayed. If you're experiencing issues with static, interference, or garbling speech as you try to connect, or you should try to connect using another method. You may submit your questions at any time during the meeting by typing them into the questions pane of the control panel. We will collect these questions and address them during the question and comment session. During the question and comment session, you may continue to submit text questions, or you can click on the hand icon to raise your hand if you wish to speak. You will be unmuted and prompted when it is your turn to speak. For those of you who are joining by phone or who would like to provide input following the meeting, you may submit your questions or comments to donald.rostifer@dot.ohio.gov. To provide fair and orderly discussion of project information and expression of comments, we will include the ground rules in this meeting participant guide, which can be found on the project website in the handout section of the control panel. We won't read the entire list, but I would like to touch on a few of the highlights. This meeting is being recorded and all comments are considered public record. We'd like to ask that you please keep comments and questions as specific and related to the project as possible. Speakers will be limited to 2 minutes to allow other participants an opportunity to speak. And finally, we know this goes without saying, but we ask that everyone please be respectful. Demeaning, derogatory, and inflammatory vulgar language or actions will not be permitted and may result in attendees being removed from the meeting. The agenda for this meeting is as follows. First, we'll introduce the project team. Then we'll go through the project presentation. Then we'll allow for a question and comment session of the presentation. Then we'll ask you a series of questions and allow for a comment session in between each question. Then we'll go over the next steps in what will occur after this meeting. At this time, I would like to introduce you to the Odot District 3 Deputy Director, Bob Weaver.
Thank you, Crystal, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for participating in today's stakeholder meeting for the Wayne 30 corridor study. Some of you may not have been asked to be stakeholders in the past, so let me just kind of explain this a little bit. So stakeholders are individuals in the community, such as state reps, county commissioners, township trustees, village mayors, so forth and so on, local officials and individuals that may have a business, a major business in the area, fire, EMS, and certainly law enforcement that are very well attuned to what's going on in the community and how the transportation needs and wants of the community impact their businesses and day-to-day operations. So that's why we've recognized that we can't have everybody involved in a stakeholder meeting, so we've selected the majority or individuals we thought could provide us feedback for today's meeting and input. So certainly want you to participate and ask questions, and we will have a round of a question answer session here in a little bit. Next slide, please. So again, the purpose of today's meeting is to share information with you about the study. Let me emphasize that we are launching a study. We'll get into some of the specifics and timeline of this, but this is just for a study. We are looking at the corridor and figuring out what we can do, what we can't do, what's best for the community. So along the way, we're going to ask at the very end, we're going to ask 4 questions specifically. So I wanted to throw these up so you can be thinking about them along the way. So which intersections have the most local concern and why? The highest traveled routes for trucks, farm machinery, buggies, EMS, school travel routes and concerns, and what local events do we need to consider that we may impact. So after the presentation, we will answer all of your questions and have, information about the next steps. Then we'll open it up to questions, excuse me. So at this time, I'd like to introduce the Odot team. We have Catherine Wade, a traffic planning engineer, and she's today's presenter. She will be the one giving us all the information. Don Rostifer, district environmental coordinator and meeting moderator. Caitlin Thompson, district public information officer, and we've already heard from Crystal Nealon. She's a public information officer here at the district as well. Matt Walter is in attendance. He's our district capital programs administrator. Leslie Farley, our district planning engineer. Julie Cicello, district traffic engineer. Dustin Valsden, our district design engineer. Brad Corder, our district real estate administrator. Levi Wingler, district environmental specialist, and Jason Sutherland, ODOT county manager. We also have members of Gannett Fleming, and they will be performing the study. Shane Campbell is a project manager, and Leah Yakumithis is a transportation planner. So we have a lot of individuals online, and we should have the right people here to answer your questions. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over, and we will proceed with the presentation. So Catherine, please take it away.
Thanks, Bob. So my name is Catherine Wade. I'm the ODOT project manager for this study. In this presentation, I wanted to provide a quick background of, provide a quick background of how this segment got selected for study, go over crash data, and also review the study area, purpose, and schedule. First, I apologize, to discuss prioritization. So in 2016, the district developed a priority list that ranked the 4-lane at-grade intersection corridors. The top 3 safety ranked corridors in District 3 included Wayne 21, from Clinton Road to Grill Road, and in 2020, safety funds were awarded for several intersection improvements along that segment with 2024 estimated construction. Then this Wayne 30 segment tied second with Medina 224 and Richmond Road, from Richmond Road to Leroy Road. In 2015, safety funds were awarded at the Medina 224 and Westfield Road intersection for an R-cut and left turn lane on Leroy Road. In 2019, these improvements were constructed. So as you can see, this is the next segment up for study based on our prioritization list. The study area, we're looking at 14 US 30 intersections and 4 major driveways from Kansas Road to West Lebanon Road. There are going to be many secondary intersections that are part of this study area as well to be counted. So wanted to quickly mention to be aware of possible traffic counting equipment that will be at these locations, as you can see the dot locations over the next several months.
little bit of crash data. So I wanted to discuss the crashes that are happening at these intersections, historical crash data. From 2015 to 2019, this is a 5-year analysis period, there were 242 total crashes at the 18 study intersections. There were 2 fatal crashes, 112 injury, and 128 property damage only. As you can see from the chart, the 2 signalized intersections, State Route 94 had 55 crashes, and State Route 57 had 43 crashes. Those were the highest intersections, highest crashes for the intersections along the corridor. At the stop-controlled intersections, we're looking at Wenger had 23 crashes, followed by Kohler that had 17 crashes, and then West Lebanon that had 16 crashes over the analysis period. The purpose of the study is to analyze crash patterns, capacity, and existing conditions. The study also is to recommend countermeasures to address the crash patterns at the US 30 intersections. We're looking at countermeasures such as full or partial intersection closures, R-cut, which is reduced conflict U-turn, super street, which is an R-cut with signalized intersections. I'm going to get a little bit more into that on the following slides. And then other innovative countermeasures, as well as turn lanes or turn lane extensions. We also need to determine if the mainline countermeasures would impact any of the secondary locations. Some of you may have been involved last year in the statewide Amish study. In this corridor study, we will be counting buggies at the US 30 intersections to identify their crossing patterns, but we are not getting into any buggy countermeasures or recommendations on side streets that may have been included in that Amish study. So a reduced conflict U-turn, or an R-cut, is an at-grade intersection with a median that has the minor road traffic turn right and make a U-turn back to cross or to make left. The image shows the Medina 224 Westfield Road R-cut that was recently constructed in 2019. As you can see, the median is closed, as well as there are U-turns with loons to accommodate the semi-traffic. These loons are placed about 650 feet from the intersections at this specific location. A super street is an R-cut with signalized main intersection and signal at the U-turns as well. This is an example in Butler County at the 4 bypass and Tylersville Road. This is in a different district. But as you can see, there are U-turns as well as loon to accommodate the semi-traffic. A quick overview of this schedule. So in February 2021, the study consultant Gannett Fleming was authorized. In May of 2021, we are conducting traffic counts on the main line US 30 and a few secondary intersections around Dalton. In June, we're finishing the secondary counting locations. Then fall, we're expecting a draft study to be completed. And this, I did want to quickly mention, it's not in the slide, but we do plan on coming back to this stakeholder group to discuss the draft study and the recommendations. Then in winter 21-22, we're planning on holding a public involvement meeting. February of 2022, finalizing the study. And in April, spring of 2022, submitting safety applications for any of the recommendations. No, any larger countermeasure implementation will likely take several years. This isn't a quick, short-term process. And I also wanted to mention an upcoming project, which is US 30 and State Route 57 intersection improvement. This is an Odot, part of it is an Odot safety project, which is concurrent with the Speedway development improvement. So marked out on the image to the right in green is the Odot safety project, which includes signal replacement, State Route 57 southbound right turn lane addition, a US 30 westbound right turn lane extension, and a US 30 westbound left turn lane addition. Construction is expected to occur in 2021-2022. I would now like to introduce Don Rostifer. He is going to be our moderator for the question and comment portion of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Kat. Again, my name is Don Rostifer. So we got a slide up here just to remind you of how to ask questions and to provide comments. So before we go on to the questions that we would like to ask you, we'd like to open up for questions and the answers on the presentation itself. So we'll give a few minutes for folks to raise their hand, or you can type in your question that you may have that you would like to ask on the presentation. Okay, at this time, Julie is going to answer the first question from Jonathan Hofstetter.
Yeah, hi, this is Julie. So yeah, we can basically install R-cuts at every intersection if that's what the study recommends. It all depends on how close the intersections are spaced. So if we have two really closely spaced intersections, then they might have to share the U-turn movements, but they would still be like an R-cut configuration for them too.
Thank you, Julie. Okay, Julie's going to continue to answer Sue Small's question.
Yeah, so her question is, how many intersections are you looking to close, or does that depend on the traffic data? Yeah, that will be dependent on the study. So when we get the draft study this fall, we'll see what the recommendations are. And again, that's based on the traffic data and crashes.
Thank you, Julie.
All right, the next question is, are the only improvements being considered in the study what we have seen in the presentation? This is from Jonathan Hofstetter. Basically, they're looking at a variety of recommendations. So those were the main ones that we've been doing on, we just wanted to explain the R-cuts and super streets because not everybody's familiar with those. So we wanted to make sure we explain what those are in the presentation, but they'll be looking at other improvements too, like minor improvements. Maybe some could be even just what we call low-cost improvements, such as signs, pavement markings, all the way up to a much larger project such as the R-cut or super street. Some could be turn lane extensions with signal replacements, or just turn lane improvements or additions at some of the intersections, similar to what we're doing at the 30 and 57 intersection.
Thank you, Julie. Next question was from Frank Geiser. Frank, yes, we will repeat the questions before we answer them. Thank you. The next question is a complete bypass has been done at 57 to Worcester in consideration? No, we are not looking at doing any type of bypass. The new 30 that replaced the old 30 Lincoln Highway corridor is the section that you have now, and we are not looking or considering another bypass around any parts of the county or any of the villages along the 30 corridor. Julie's going to answer the next question from Jonathan Hofstetter.
Yeah, so Jonathan asked if there's any other place in the state that currently has multiple R cuts already in use. So yeah, there is down by Cincinnati. That's our District 8 area. They have actually several super streets right in a row on Route 4 bypass, just northwest of Cincinnati.
So just for clarification on that last statement, Jonathan, if you're looking for multiple, like one after the other, District 8 down in Cincinnati is the place to have multiples. But we do have other R cuts that have been built in the state. Here in District 3, we have one at 224 and Westfield Drive. And then District 4 has two that are not too far away that are just on the edge of Wayne County that they have built too. We have Dan Lowe has his hand raised and would like to ask a question. So at this time, we will unmute you, Dan, and you can ask your question.
I was just wondering for the work that's scheduled this year at 57, if there's going to be any detour that, as the city of Orrville, that we need to prepare for or kind of take into consideration, like our 4th of July. During that week, a lot of people from all of Wayne County and beyond come to our 4th of July festivities.
Dan, at this time, we do not believe that you will need to worry about any type of things that you need to do for detouring around that area for that construction. We do have a detour plan in place. We believe you do not need to do any more in order to prepare for that construction season. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Next question is from Blake Nussbaum. What is the main goal of the study? Safety, efficiency, or longevity? How would you rank those three goals?
Yeah, this is Julie. I'll answer that question. So basically, yeah, we're looking for all three of those. And we would rank safety first. So we will be applying for safety funds. So there definitely has to be a safety component, has to be a big part of that. So that would be our probably the most critical one.
Thank you, Julie. The next question is from Jonathan Hofstetter. Yes, I am looking for multiple R cuts in a row. May I email and get the list? Thank you for answering my question. Yes, we can certainly give you the information on that. Just send me an email or Julie an email and what you're asking for, and we will be sure to get that to you. We also have Scott Miller raising his hand. At this time, Scott, we are going to allow you to unmute and ask your question.
Oh, sorry about that. Here we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On Winger Road, that crossover was just closed last year. Is ODOT going to consider that intersection for an R cut or something to open that back up?
And this is Julie. We're not able to put an R cut in there due to the elevation difference of the eastbound and westbound lanes of 30. So at this time, we are not planning to open that back up. As part of the project, we did provide a U-turn at the 94 signalized intersection to accommodate people who are northbound on Wenger who wanted to, either cross or turn left. They could either go down to the 94 signal, make their left turn, or also make a U-turn there. And that U-turn does accommodate semi-trucks as well.
Thank you, Julie. Julie's going to answer the next question from Pete Whistler.
Yeah, so we just really want to see where the Amish are traveling, and if there's a location where they do cross 30 often, to try and come up with some kind of accommodation for them to make it so that they can still cross Route 30 easily and safely.
Thank you, Julie. Next question is from Blake Meyer, and Julie will answer your question.
Yeah, so the question is Vine Road or Bixler Road going to be affected in any way? I believe Bixler is off of 57 there, and Vine is located just west of 57 intersection, and it tees into Route 30. And no, we are not affecting them with our project. The Speedway gas station, those are going to be the two main access points for the Speedway gas station.
Thank you, Julie. At this time, Blake Nussbaum has his hand up, and we're going to allow Blake to unmute and ask his question.
Yes, good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Hey, just to make sure that I understand the full goal of the study, being that it's
The gas station.
Thank you, Julie. At this time, Blake is going to allow ask his question.
understand the that it's
Thank you, Julie. Tom has his hand up, unmute, and answer.
good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
To make sure the study,
Blake, allow question.
and the full
Thank you, Julie. At this time, his hand up, mute, and answer.
afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
To make sure that I the
Blake Nussbaum. Blake.
yes. Hey, just the full goal.
Julie. At this time, hand up, and we're going to ask.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Make sure that I understand being that
Thank you, Julie. At has his hand up, mute, and answer.
Afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
To make sure that I,